Yo, what is up, YouTube boxing family? It is IK right here. I'm back at it with another good video for you guys today. And oh man, I gotta cook the homie, Xander Zayas. Yes, I said it. Bariquas. Red alert. If you are gonna get pissed off, I suggest you do not watch this video. But guess what? I do not care because I am the best fight the best on my page. Shout out to BFTB. But all I want is clarity in this great destructive sport called boxing. So let's talk about Xander's ass. He's been on a pretty good active tear on his career. 15-0, 10 of those wins by way of knockout. He will be fighting a no-name by the name of Ronald Cruz. Don't know who the hell this guy is. I don't think I've ever seen him on PBC. I don't think I've ever seen this guy fight anyone. He did knock out Huda Nazarov, which that's a decent victory, but Huda Nazarov, he's not that good of a fighter. He's way past his prime, and we already knew what happened between him and Joey Spencer. So I mean, the win doesn't age well because obviously, him getting stopped by a Ronald Cruz and then fighting a John Vera, which no one doesn't even know who the hell he is, and all these other fighters. It just doesn't look good on Xander's resume to build. And on top of this, most of these guys that Cruz has fought, they're like C level to D level opposition. Like the only names that I know on this list is Huda Nazarov and Brandon Maddox. I mean, Brandon, he was never that good of a fighter because he's a very limited fighter. But yeah, he obviously lost to Nikita Ababi in the past. I remember that fight. He's a decent, journeyman or just low tier fighter. But no, I think this opponent's just gonna be the same thing, and I won't be surprised if Xander ends up doing something like a little bit off the wall to try to please his fans because the problem that I have with this fight is that you are now deciding to go backwards in your career by basically cherry picking this dude that no one has ever heard of. I mean, I would assume Cruz is coming to win, but it's like he obviously lost to a really tough opponent in Damian Sosa, which I will give credit for this loss. But on top of that, that's a good fight because he's only lost to one guy by the name of Arten Oganesian. And this dude, oh yeah, he can hit. Like, he's really, really dangerous. And that was a fight that was very, very action packed. And I never watched the fight, but yeah, definitely. That's a really, really good opponent that Mr. Ronald Cruz has lost to. So I mean, Damian Sosa is not a bad fight. It's just that why is Xander fighting a guy that hasn't been active since August of 2022, and now this is his first fight coming into 2023. If anything, it's just duck sauce, bro. It's not showing that you're getting better, dude. You're 16 fights in, man. That's not helping you get better. I could honestly, I can name 5 other better opponents that you could have fought on this list at the top 50, but you could have fought a whole bunch of dudes. You could have fought Patrick Teixeira. He's not doing anything with his career, and that's a very fucking winnable fight. You could fight Cordell Booker, in which Cordell Booker, I've spoke to him plenty of times. Not like personally, like as far as like DM, I would say, but he has told me through like comment sections in on Instagram where he's told me that he couldn't get fights at 154 and he had to fight at 160 just to get fights. But you could call him up because obviously he got blasted by Austin Williams, but still, like, he's still a very valuable name at 154. So I think either way, like, why can't you fight him? You could fight Kevin Salgado. That's a good fight. That's an amazing, yeah, that's an amazing opponent. You could fight Takeshi Inoue. That's actually a very very good fight because you want to know why? Because Takeshi Inoue, he went to war with Jaime Munguia, and he has that good style that's gonna take you late game to improve your inside ability and make you into like a much stronger fighter. Or in replacement to him, you could fight Sergio Garcia. You could fight Kyleman Agarco, in which I'm not high on Kyleman, but still that's a valuable name. You could fight these guys, bro. And all I'm saying is like Xander, like if you don't step it up now, my whole thing about where I'm seeing the future go is that you're getting blasted at 154. Like, no doubt. Like, I don't know who's going to be up there, when, Mr. Charlo and what? I probably say Tim Zhu and I probably say Tony Harrison and maybe Danny Garcia is gone. But then after that, you're going to have Errol Spence, Jaron Ennis, and you're probably going to end up maybe having Keith Thurman there, but I don't think Keith Thurman's going to want to campaign at 54. I think he's going to end it at 47. But, I mean, dude, like, there's really no other option. Like, the competition's getting tough. Look at it. Like all I know is that you and Charles Conwell are very close in ranking. So if, whatever sanction body that you're going through to try to get a title, if you have to run into Charles Conwell, which I'm very sure that the WBO, whatchamacallit, had, I think they have Xander and Charles at least like a rank or two away from each other, but don't be surprised, if they mandate that fight, if you guys want to get to that title. So, that's basically what I'm saying, man. Like, there's too much deadly opposition in this, division. You got Jesus Ramos Jr., he's going to be fighting Joey Spencer, and I don't know who Erickson Lubin's going to be fighting, but I wouldn't be surprised if he fights like a Carlos Ocampo. I think a Carlos Ocampo is a perfect opponent for him. But yeah, like I mean, 154 is almost it's it's still in its very deadly stages of like rebuilding, but it's like it's like a scientific experiment that never goes out without any catastrophe. So I think how I see 154 going down is just simply that you see a whole bunch of new talent coming up, and I just don't see Xander staying up there for that long. I just think that if he continues to fight these guys that have like C level to borderline B level opposition, the problem that I'm gonna end up having is that with Xander, he's gonna end up thinking he's comfortable at 154, and the issue being is that he's going to try whatever mechanism he can do to just basically get to the title without any without any risky matches that could harm his career. And he will do anything and everything possible to make sure that Top Rank and Bob Arum can get him all the fights that suits his style. And I'm not too sure about this Ronald Cruz guy, but I won't be surprised if Cruz, if he has power, and he could very well hurt Xander in the fight. But hopefully Xander he can win. But it's just like, I like I already understand what the play is gonna be. Like Xander's ass is gonna be, he's gonna be set up, oh man, I think Top Rank is gonna set Xander up like he's like another Miguel Cotto type fighter, and what they're gonna do is that they're going to give Xander a vacant belt like they always do at Top Rank, because Top Rank doesn't make you fight the champion that is actually good. But on top of that, even if you were to fight a champion, they put you up against a guy that is all, that is, usually in house, that has, the political puppetry connected with Top Rank. So Top Rank will do anything in their power to make sure that, the belts are always stayed over there if they're like, if they've already gotten political control. So, I mean, my whole, speculation on this is that if Charlo decides to stay for like a couple extra years, for whatever reason, just because his brother Jamal Charlo, in which I don't know what's gonna happen with his belt, but knowing that he's been going through some really tough times, I'm probably gonna say his WBC belt is gonna be vacated because Charlo, he hasn't been in the ring since June, and honestly, it's just sad, man, because it's just like, you know, the Charlo brothers are definitely gonna keep 154 and 160 interesting, but by the time when they're gone, I would definitely say Xander is probably gonna end up, going for the 154-pound title when the competition gets cleared. But I'm just hoping that the WBO, they can just give all the tough fights and make Xander work for it instead of just being given a freebie, matchup where he's able to become champion, and then what he does from there is that he's gonna end up playing that Canelo Alvarez card where he's not gonna fight, any tough opposition unless it suits his style, and then he'll end up unifying or try to do something to that nature. But I'm just hoping Xander, he just fights out the best competition because this is your 16th fight, so, I would expect something better out of you because at 16 plus fights, you should already have enough experience to fight a good, crafty veteran. And I think every time when I see a matchup like this, I get heavily critical because I'm thinking so much about, all the other best competition, in which that best competition is with PBC. And before any of you weirdos or any of you idiots try to say, well, top ranked fighters can't get a fight with PBC fighters, that's not true. Because if that is true, why is it that Gervonta Davis is able to get a fight with Ryan Garcia, in which, we don't even know if that fight is signed, sealed, and delivered, but, let's just say if it is. Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia, they are on two different sides of the promotional street. So it was easy enough for them to just come to the table, and Oscar De La Hoya, he got out of the way, and Ryan Garcia and Tank, they could be fighting next. But why is it that when it comes to any PBC fighter fighting a top rank fighter, Bob Arum or whatever weirdos that want to say, oh, PBC is just screwing over, the business of boxing, blah, 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 and this is why Top Rank and PBC can't come together, which that's a load of shit because if the fighters want to fight, they're going to come to the table, not the promoter. The promoter is just there to negotiate with the fighter to say, okay, I want this fight if I am a promoter, or I don't want this fight because it goes against their interests. But then again, if you are not legally bound to control your fights and the promoter is because you're under contract with them, which that's what usually, fighters go through under Top Rank banner do because they don't want to do the business. They want to let the promoter do the business. So what the promoter ends up doing is that they end up talking it out with other promotional agencies that can do business with them, because it's not like Top Rank just gets fighters that are exclusively signed to Top Rank to fight other fighters. They get other fighters from different promotional platforms that you may not have seen in the past, or fighters that you have seen that have definitely came from PBC or DAZN and Matchroom or Triller or wherever that you could think of. So Top Rank has the financial power to get together with PBC. So PBC and Top Rank fighters, they come and go when they talk about switching to the sides of the street. And it doesn't exist because it's like everyone can fight wherever the hell they want. If the NBA was producing boxing fights on television, after every NBA game's over, then I guarantee you the top ranking PBC, they would have to end up working 10 times harder to give us better fights. Otherwise, the NBA could easily take over that banner and give us fans what we pay for big, high paid level fights. So, either way, when it comes to Xander Zayas' career, I would say it's definitely on for to watch because this opponent does not deserve to fight Xander, and even if you want to make the justification for it, why is it that Xander is able to get away with with an opponent like this when if you're trying to go for a world title, you should really very well just end up, fighting the guys that are in your sanction body, and then, the WBO can actually, certify you to become a mandatory challenger for the belt. So, I don't think this is a good move. I think this is a really crappy move, but I mean, that's just like my thoughts, I'm sorry that people may think it's disrespectful. I don't think it is. I think it's peaceful criticism at best, but it's just that, when you look at Xander's career, like, this is now or nothing. And I mean, what happens at the 17th matchup, or his 18th matchup, or his 19th and 20th matchup? Are we not going to say anything about how he's moving in the sport? Like, I just think, like, at this point, it just needs to be, it needs to be talked about. Because if it's not talked about, then Xander's going to be comfortable fighting weaker, tomato can level opponents, or just opponents that, they're coming to get a paycheck, but they're not coming to actually win. That's what the problem with, a lot of these fighters. They're getting, hyped up so quickly because they're trying to fool the audience to think that this guy or this girl is such a heavy-handed knockout puncher and they can do this, they can do that, but then when it's time for them to step up competition and they're not able to do the things that you had once believed them to do, then it ends up making that fighter look like an absolute scumbag, because what ends up happening is that the fighter themselves will talk themselves into a lie, and then they'll end up contradicting themselves heavily for the sake of, political, political propaganda. So, I mean, either way, I mean, case in point with Xander, he has skills, but, he either got to leave Top Rank or he has to be demanding good fights from Top Rank, which I'm pretty sure Top Rank can do it. Top Rank can easily send an offer out to any fighter that Bob Arum wants to, see fit. But if Xander wants to smoke, with a certain fighter, or any fighter that is good, I mean, I don't see why Top Rank can't get that going. So, I don't know. I think Xander, he will be good. He should be able to put himself, in a good position in terms of his power and his boxing ability and everything he possesses. But I mean, only time will tell. So hopefully Xander, he can do his thing, and we get to see a potential world champion in Puerto Rican boxing. So, alright, I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Shout out to the mighty LDBC TWT. Bye.